Okay, guys, so in the next few videos, we're just going to do example after example after example after example. You'll probably get annoyed. There it is, annoyed. And you'll probably get tired of hearing my examples. But I think they're important because each of these vocab words, you need to understand the definition, the use, and the pronunciation. So basically, there are going to be 5 vocabulary words per video, and I'm going to give one in the past participle adjective and one in the present participle adjective. And then we'll move on to the next slide. Now, you don't have to learn them all. No tienes que aprenderlas todas. But it's important to not feel lost, basically. If you feel like, oh my goodness, I feel lost, then you should study more. If you feel, okay, I have this under control, maybe I don't know all of them, but I know the majority, then you're good, okay? So let's start. Number 1, I was alarmed by the storm coming toward my house. The storm was alarming, so I went to a shelter. Number 2, he was aggravated because the waiter was very rude. The aggravating waiter lost his job. Number 3, the child was amused by the clown. The clown was very amusing. Number 4, I felt annoyed in class yesterday. The class was very annoying yesterday. Number 5, he was astonished by the news. The news was astonishing, so he called his mother. He was astounded by what he saw on the television. The news on the television was astounding. Number 2, I was bored in class today. The class was boring, so I left. Number 3, the children were captivated by the musician. The captivating musician had their attention. Number 4, he felt challenged by the test. The test was very challenging, so he started to cry. Number 5, she was charmed by his debonair attitude. The man was charming, so she loved him. Number 1, she felt comforted by the phone call from her mom. Her mom's phone call was very comforting. Number 2, the child was confused by your class. The class that you taught was very confusing. Number 3, she felt convinced to buy him a motorcycle. He was convincing enough for her to buy him a motorcycle. Number 4, she was depressed after giving birth. Being a new mom can be depressing. Number 5, my father was disappointed in my choice. My choice was disappointing from my father's point of view. I felt discouraged after hearing your feedback. Your feedback was very discouraging. I was disgusted by the food because I don't eat meat. The menu was disgusting. I felt distressed when I got your phone call. The news about your mother was distressing. I was disturbed by the weird movie we watched last night. The idea behind the movie was very disturbing. She got embarrassed during the class and didn't speak. The class was embarrassing for her. I encouraged my nephew to go to church regularly. It's encouraging to go to church. Number 2, he entertained me with his stories. His amazing stories were very entertaining. I was excited for my trip to Honduras. My trip to Honduras was super exciting. Number 4, I felt exhausted after a day of work. Working all day can be exhausting. My son is fascinated with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are fascinating to my son. The leaders of the country got frustrated. The situation in the country is very frustrating. I felt fulfilled once I completed my degree. Completing something is always fulfilling. I felt gratified by the acknowledgement of my peers. It was gratifying to be acknowledged. I felt inspired by the book. The movie and the ideas behind it are inspiring. My sister was insulted when she saw what he was saying. What he was saying was super insulting. I was interested in buying a new car. The information about the cars was very interesting. Number 2, I felt moved by the story of the young children. The stories they had to tell were moving. She felt overwhelmed when she saw the misery. When we see difficult things, it can be overwhelming. Number 4, I was perplexed by your idea. Your idea was perplexing. Number 5, I was pleased to hear you called. The music that we were listening to was very pleasing. Relaxed. Number 1, I was relaxed when I went to the beach, but then it started to rain. Sitting in a hammock on the beach is relaxing. I felt relieved when my sister finally called. Hearing her voice was relieving. Number 3, I felt satisfied by the explanation. The idea of leaving the country for a few weeks was very satisfying. I was shocked to hear about how many cases of the virus there were. The news was shocking. I was sickened when I heard about everybody's attitude. Their attitude was sickening. The baby was soothed by her mother's voice. The song was very soothing to the baby. I was surprised when you called me. The movie had a very surprising ending. I was tempted to eat all of that chocolate. The chocolate was super tempting. I was terrified when they told me about your accident. It must have been terrifying to be in that accident. I felt threatened when they hired a new teacher. Having competition is very threatening. I was thrilled you decided to come. The roller coaster at the theme park was thrilling. I'm tired of you ignoring me. It's so tiring to explain myself many times. I was touched by the story you told. Your testimony is very touching. I was troubled when I heard your problem. It's troubling to think that you don't have a solution. I felt unsettled by what your mother said. It's unsettling to think about that issue.